The Chinese arms industry, and especially the Chinese military, can be quite secretive. Most of the time, information about new weapon systems and capabilities comes to the West in the form of various leaked photographs, or through those big military parades China likes to hold, though those are only a few per decade. But it's the airshow/arms expo in the city of Zhuhai that's become the staple of new information influx. Chinese arms manufacturers usually show a myriad of various systems there, and lately even the Chinese military seems to use the expo to show off its toys, even if they are not offered to the export market. After 3 years, another Zhuhai show is upon us, and boy have there been a lot of new Chinese weapon systems displayed. Binkov will select some of the most interesting ones. Important to note, not all systems shown are in use with the Chinese military. Also, not all of the export-oriented systems are equally serious development efforts. Some weapons never make it past the mock-ups. Binkov will try to help you guide through it all. One of the biggest pieces of news is certainly the J-16D, a flanker variant for electronic warfare, apparently in use with the Chinese Air Force. While previous images showed off various developmental prototypes, now the plane is shown in Air Force colors. It's an equivalent of the US Navy's EA-18G Growler. It sports various additional antennae, large ESM pods on its wings, and for the first time ever, it was shown with a set of jammer pods. 2 large jammer pods under its intakes seem to be covering the area 360 degrees around the plane. They most likely serve to jam the low or medium bands, meaning targeting or early warning radar bands. The US Growler, for comparison, uses a single centerline low-band pod and 1 medium-band pod under each wing. The Chinese plane uses 2 different pods under its wings. Those are likely to be jammers for additional bands or perhaps even additional electronic signal-gathering pods. All those pods seem to feature AESA arrays. In general technology terms, they might be comparable to the US next-generation jammer pods, which are scheduled to start replacing the old ALQ-99 jammer pods on Growlers. The nose of the J-16D has been redesigned from the regular J-16. It's possible that the new radar is also designed as a jammer against high bands for self-protection. The J-20 fighter was also shown. That in itself isn't new, but what is new is the fact that J-20s in Air Force colors, meaning in active service, were presented with domestically made engines. The engine variant observed carries the name WS-10C. Exact specifications remain elusive, but given the Russian-sourced engines that it replaced and the performance bracket of the WS-10 engine family, it's plausible that the engine yields some 140 kilonewtons of thrust. That's roughly in between of F-15 and F-22 thrust levels. Export variant of the PL-15 missile, Chinese analog to AMRAAM, was also shown, with a stated range of 145 kilometers. Whether that is range against fighter-type targets or against slow, unalerted planes is unknown. A whole slew of air defense systems were shown, some new, some older ones, but with now disclosed specifications. Perhaps the biggest such reveal was the HQ-9B. It's the main Chinese long-range SAM system, in the class of the Russian S-300 and S-400. This time we finally got an official confirmation on the range, whopping 260 km reach, though it's likely that the stated range is against slow, unalerted targets only. The figure given is for the BE variant meant for export. New data disclosed also showed that the radar can guide 16 missiles to 8 different targets at once. New medium and short-range SAM systems were perhaps the most plentiful. The FB-10A seems to be based on Mengshi 3 vehicles, slightly larger than Humvees. The Skydragon 30 SAM system has now been shown with radar-guided missiles. Previously, its missiles featured imaging infrared guidance. The rest of the missiles seem similar, possibly suggesting interchangeable missile tips. LY-70 is yet another new system of medium range, probably for export only. None of those systems are known to have been procured by the Chinese military, for now. A mock-up of vertical launch system for ships was presented as well, dubbed HT-1E. It's not clear just how much commonality that VLS has with the system used by the Chinese Navy. Multiple types of missiles were shown to be housed in it, with perhaps the biggest reveal being quad packaging of a wholly new missile, the FM-3000N. The range of the whole SAM system and its multi-target capability are certainly suitable for ship defenses. This may be a show of things to come for the Chinese Navy as well. To stay with the Navy stuff a bit, there was a new mid-class supersonic missile shown, the aircraft-launched HD-1A, similar to the YJ-12 in layout, but roughly half its weight. It also seems to be a ramjet with a speed of Mach 3.5 at high altitude and Mach 2.2 when 5 to 10 meters above the sea. China's military is not known to be using this weapon, though weight-wise it would be a good fit for its JH-7 strike aircraft. The venerable YJ-83 subsonic anti-ship missile was in recent months observed with a curious notch on its nose when fired from Chinese Navy's ships. Now that Zhuhai, the export variant, has been shown, and the notch is confirmed to be a part of an additional optical seeker. When it comes to the land forces, the accent was on munitions. The WS-600L multiple rocket launcher missiles were shown with multiple guidance types, including a simple satellite navigation variant similar to the US Navy ATACM missiles, but also variants with added infrared or radar terminal guidance. Range is a tad shorter than the mentioned US missile, though the warhead is twice the size. Guided artillery rounds with satellite navigation have also been shown, 2 different models in 155mm class. Closest US equivalent would be the Excalibur artillery round. There were also various loitering munitions shown. Small form ones to be launched from a mortar and larger ones launched from multiple rocket launcher vehicles. There were also flying hand grenades, as their maker described them, the CH-817 mini drones, which can be used for both recon and suicide attacks. None of those have been confirmed to be in use with the Chinese military, though with more and more models shown at the expo, chances of something similar in use do rise significantly. A new infantry fighting vehicle was also shown with 2 different unmanned turrets. The larger turret sporting a lot of optical sensors, larger gun, integrated anti-tank missiles, and what looks to be an active protection system. A whole host of unmanned ground vehicles were shown, with perhaps the most interesting being the logistics one, basically tiny trucks for carrying stuff around, and Scout one, as well as a larger 11-ton unmanned combat vehicle. Again, it's unknown if the Chinese army uses any of these yet. Interesting anti-aircraft guns include the truck-based variant of the Navy's 11-barrel close-in weapon system for defenses of important bases against air munitions, as well as the big 76mm AA gun, probably for the same role, though more suitable to engaging various bombs from afar. A laser-based system was also shown with a video showing interception of a quadcopter. Curiously, Chinese Air Force decided to show off their own toys. The WZ-7 drone is mission-wise similar to the US Global Hawk, but features advanced box-wing design. It's been in use for a few years. The WZ-8 is also not new, shown at the 2019 parade for the first time, but some of the promo blurbs are new. It can be used for battlefield recon and target damage assessment, meaning it likely uses optical sensors. The CH-6 drone is a novelty though, not used by any military yet. It seems to be in the class of the WZ-7 weight-wise, though its specs are likely a bit worse, pointing towards a more budget-oriented design. However, it is heavily promoted as not just a recon UAV, but also an attack one. A mock-up of a loyal wingman drone was also shown, among a myriad of other drone mock-ups, but it's impossible to tell how serious that developmental effort is. And a mock-up of GJ-11 was also shown, a model that's being actively developed for the Chinese Air Force, as it was shown at the 2019 parade. This time we saw 2 bomb bays in the mock-up, each housing 4 winged bombs. It's unknown just how far along in the development that drone is, but it is likely to become the main Chinese attack drone once it does become ready. That's the general theme of all weapon systems shown at the airshow/expo. It's quite hard to delineate what's a serious, well-budgeted program and what's just a mock-up that will never make it into a real product. And best remember, the expo is a commercial show first and foremost, so most of these toys are geared for export, which doesn't mean that some of those, or their very similar brethren, aren't already in use with the Chinese military.